Hello, welcome to the Caz and Daz show. It is I, Darren Paul, but I'm not alone. Not this time. Haha, I fooled you. I fooled absolutely nobody. You've already seen it's the return of a goat. In fact, two goats on this episode of the Caz and Daz show. Episode 30. Can you believe it? No, I cannot believe it. Caz can't believe it. And who's that third person? That looks a bit like Mike Sempervive. If you know, you know. It is Adam Masters of Brand 161 and the Below the Rim podcast and the Manchester Mystics commentary and the Manchester Magic commentary and Atlanta sports teams everywhere and the voice of Manchester basketball, Kaz Bullock. Kaz EB, you're back.
Hello. Yes, I am. We're both back.
What's popping, Daz? It's been a while. Episode 30. That's amazing, guys. I remember when you first set it up.
Episode 30. We've had a couple of specials in there. Of course, the Hanson Morris report. We need that back on the regular Michael Hanson Morris. Yeah. And then last summer, we had the WNBA show all summer long. So, you know, it's we're getting there. We're getting there.
It's a landmark. Milestone.
Milestone. Now, we have the great Adam Masters here to talk about the 3x3, the FIBA 3x3 Europe that GB were competing in this weekend. We also have coming up a snippet of an interview that I did earlier with Martin Dion of GG3x3 to talk about that competition as well, and also just to give us a bit more background on what 3x3 is. Because I don't know about you, Caz and Daz, but when I think 3x3 or 3-on-3 in this country, first person that comes to mind is Martin Dion of the GG 3x3. I don't know what you think, Caz.
Yeah, definitely. He's the 3-on-3 guy, isn't he? He's always promoting it. He's doing so much for it, and he's just got such a passion. He's got such a passion for basketball, but especially the 3-on-3 game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the first thing that always springs to my mind is Julius Joseph. Obviously, he's another guy that's worked so hard to promote 3-on-3 and the work he's done with ball out. This year, they're hitting 8 cities this year rather than 3. So it's getting bigger and bigger. And I think that the intention was to do it like that because with the Commonwealth Games coming up, I think it's going to just pop off even bigger. So I talked to Julius a little bit. I've known him for a while. He's a great guy. I'm just loving the whole setup right now, to be honest. You know, the people involved, it's great. You know, it's awesome to see a legit GOAT candidate in Steph Collins coaching the ladies as well.
Now, Julius Joseph, is he not the men's England coach at the upcoming Commonwealth Games?
Yeah, Julius is the head coach of GB Men's. I first became aware of Julius way back it might have even been the turn of the noughties, around 2000, because he played in Manchester for a season for the Giants, and he was a great England player, just an all-around good guy. So it was really cool seeing that he'd been selected as head coach for the men, based off his experience of 3x3, because he's been trying to promote it so hard for so long, and ball out's become so popular. So, yeah, it was a really nice thing to see that they sort of looked at it and gone, yeah, this guy, a lot of experience as a player and from what he does for ball out.
So the GB women played this weekend, qualifying competition to get into the Euro Cup proper. This was held in Romania, and they had a very, very successful time of it. And that's what you're here to talk about. So they played 3 games. The format is you're in a pool of 3 teams in GB's case. You play the 2 games. If you're top 2, then you'll go through to a qualification game. And they did just that, winning all 3 games. So, Ads, talk us through the weekend that GB had.
Well, I mean, it was crazy because when there was they had the camp at Bellevue, Manchester, a week or 2 ago, where they sort of had I think it was like 15 players for the men's, 15 for the women's. And it was really, for a lot of them, it was the first time they'd ever played 3-on-3 properly, you know, with 3-on-3 rules. Certainly, you know, the first time I entered a team into ball out, you know, the night before, I had to really read up to check the rules. explain to my guys exactly what you did. You know what I mean? So the most incredible thing is that they came in at a really low ranking because obviously there's nothing really to rank them off.
Yeah, there's no history there.
And they came in, and I think they beat the number 2 ranked side.
They beat Hungary. Yeah, it was.
And it's just like, oh wow! And the selection that they made, I was just looking at it going, I don't really know how you pick a 3-on-3 team, because I'm looking at it going, well, Temi and Chantel would be no-brainers because obviously they're tall. You know, they can both. You know, Temi's amazing inside, which is going to be a good thing. Chantel can obviously shoot from outside, and is an experienced player. And then you're sort of going, but then do you then go small with a quick little point guard? Like a Nicolette Fong-Lu-Ki or something. Mm-hmm. So I'm still trying to work out what the actual. I mean, what do you guys think? What is the strategy for selecting your team? It's an odd one. Plus, as well, have you guys ever tried shooting one of those 3x3 balls?
I haven't, but we were talking to. Go on.
It's odd. It's
we
really
were talking
odd.
to Martin, so he was explaining that it's a size 6 basketball, which sounds great fun, but with the weight of a size 7 basketball.
Yeah, and the way it doesn't feel round because the stripes in it make the rest of it really raised. So it's a really odd sensation, and for players, like Temi and Chantel, it must have been really weird, sort of playing with this ball and learning to shoot outside as well.
Yeah,
you know what they say in White Men Can't Jump. Out here at the beach, the ball can move 6 to 8 inches to the left or the right, and they were right down by the sea as well. So.
Now, I've got a bit of inside, not to spoil the interview we've got a little clip of later with Martin, but he was with Temi at London Court last year during his the campaign that he was doing with Basketball England to put up all those nets. I forget exactly what it was called.
Project Swish. That's
the one, Project Swish. My apologies. And he had a 3-on-3 ball, and so Temi, had it and started shooting a bit, and she was, oh, what is this? And she's a professional player. She's one of, if not the best player in the history of the British game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here for that conversation. And yes, she found her rhythm. So she's got she's got that one afternoon with Martin as a bit of background coming in. So, but yeah, it's a big tangent on the show we did with him about explaining just about how different the ball is.
Yeah, it's really odd. When I've had a go with them, it's like it just feels weird. They almost feel like a dodgeball because it's really easy to palm and the grip on it, and it's. I think that the men especially, they might have struggled a little bit with the shooting from outside just because obviously like Ashley Hamilton's got huge hands, so it must feel like holding a tennis ball to him. But yeah, I mean, the women I thought were incredible to go in there and do what they were blowing teams off the court as well. There was one team which they had done in no time.
So
they just had it together.
So if you're not aware of the scores, they beat Hungary 17-12. Obviously, it's 10 minutes, first to 21 rules. And then they beat Slovakia 21-13. So that'll be the game that you're alluding to that adds to top their Pool B. And then they took on Belarus, who came in 4th ranked into the competition and beat them 16-14 in the game to punch their ticket to Paris.
That's the other thing that was freaking me out when I first entered a team into it, is that you forget that it's first to 21 or it's 10 minutes. Yeah. Because, someone would hit a shot and all of a sudden be jumping around going, yeah, we've done it. And you're looking at the clock going, what's up with them? There's 3 minutes left. And it's like, yeah, they've just hit 21. And it's like, of course, it really is a lot to get you. If you watch normal basketball and you think you're going to know the rules and understand, it's totally different. You know what I mean? It's fundamentally basketball, but it's a different flavor of basketball.
What I love about basketball is how fast it is and how exciting I think that is. And then you put it in a 3-on-3 format. It's faster. Like it's just non-stop. And I saw
it on fast forward.
Yeah. I think I saw, it might have been Martin as well, saying someone was asking him questions while the game was on, and he was basically saying there's no time to look at the ref to argue a call for a foul. So you just go, get the rebound and go. And I really enjoyed watching it, like just the speed of it and just like get the ball, shoot, go.
Yeah. I mean, and Temi was balling out, you know what I mean? She's just such an incredible. I'm with you, Daz. I can't think of a greater player in certainly recent history than Temi Fagbenle. I mean, we've all seen what she's done for GB, but at club level as well in Europe.
Oh yeah.
I mean, people
they were that close to Euro Cup this year. They were that.
Yeah.
Did you see the Euro Cup final?
Yes, I did.
It was outrageous, and they were that close.
Yeah, but people forget that Temi's got a ring, a WNBA ring.
Yeah,
that's huge. I mean, she's such a great player. I wondered when the selections were being done and when they were putting out the rosters. I was thinking, I wonder if people like Temi will they're very patriotic people, but with will they want to do 3-on-3? Yeah. But it sounds to me like her and Chantel straight away were like, yeah, I'm in, because the Chantel as well, because she was part of the Commonwealth team that won silver, right?
Yeah.
So how cool would it be for her to medal again? Because there's absolutely no reason why they can't medal. So, we're only going off one tournament, but the teams that they've beat, it's like oh yeah, they won, but they beat teams that weren't that good. They were beating good teams.
Yeah.
So it's like, right, okay, maybe the ladies could medal.
It's funny that you say, how do you put together a roster? Like, who do you take? How do you build a squad?
Yeah.
Well, first one is, do you have Temi Fagbenle? If so, put her on the team. And that's gonna be my jumping off point. Is can I get Temi? And we'll go from there. Now, what do you make of the fact that in both the men and the women, but obviously we're focused on the women on the Caz and Daz show, we had WBBL and men's BBL representation in this tournament? How awesome was that?
You know what? In terms of how good a job that they've done on getting this together so quickly with essentially one camp, seeing players that have been to the very top of the professional game like Temi and Chantel, but then seeing BBL players in there as well, it's like, it's perfect. It really is perfect. It's like they've selected well. The fact that Steph Collins is the head coach, I think, had Steph not been head coach, would it have been as easy to get Temi? Hey, who knows?
Yeah,
but Steph is so well respected. So I know Caz, she's one of your favourite players of all time. You got to interview her in Manchester, and she's such a nice person, but she knows the game. She's passionate. So, everything is just like, yeah. I mean, as you know from below the rim, there's always something I can find to moan about. But with the women's 3x3, I was like, wow, Ads is happy with everything. It's like there's not one kind of, oh really? It's like, yeah, perfect.
God, it's all coming up Ads at the moment. So your lot are on the verge of making the NBA finals, and now we've got GB 3x3 is exactly what you want from it.
I'm a happy person, a very happy person. I know that I'm going to have another late night tonight for watching Game 5. I've been really tired this week. People have just got used to it now. They were like, "Were the Hawks on last night?" And I'm like, "Yep." Late for everything. So
the tournament ends, is it November or September?
That's what I'm looking at if I keep looking away, I'm actually looking at my desktop to actually find out when that is.
That's
I don't know if you know, Ads. Do they keep this? Are they keeping the same squad? So the 4 that have qualified, is that the official? That's the GB team, or can it?
I would thought so, because remember for the actual Commonwealth Games, it's not going to be Great Britain; it's going to be England. So that's a great question. I actually don't know whether this is, the fight. This is like, right, here is our team for the Commonwealth Games. I'd imagine. I can't see. I can't really see any of those players not being selected. You know what I mean? And they've sort of earned the right to be there by doing what they've done. And I mean, why would you, cut Temi, Chantel, Shaquille? They've all done an amazing job. So I'd hope that it would be.
Yeah. I just loved how they played together. I loved how you got Beckford Norton just absolutely powering to the basket because she was just quick and had so much speed. And when you're saying talking about building a team, I was talking to Mike and I said initially my first thought was go small and go fast. Have one big and just go small around it. But I think they did a good job with what they had. And I guess there'll be some teams that are just all big, all small. But I was thinking speed when I first saw it.
But my theory with that kind of got blown out of the water when I saw the men's lineup because they're huge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like they're big guys. Ashley Hamilton, Miles Hessen, all and they're all Joshua Ribbett. They're big guys.
I love the fact that we've just said. Sorry to cut across, Brad. We're talking about WBBL and men's BBL, but we've now got a men's. Okay, take this with a grain of salt, but a men's National Basketball League Division 1 player. All right, we know Orlan Jackman is, could play above that level, and he plays for what's essentially a men's BBL team anyway. But how cool is that?
It's really cool. It's really, and again, it's sort of testament to what a well-respected player Orlan Jackman is. I mean, the name I wanted to see because he didn't make the training camp. I was just wanting to see Miles Hessen. I just was when I first thought, right, who's going to play? It was like Hessen's got to be involved. Just as a physical athlete, he'd be awesome. So yeah. But back to the point, what Caz was saying. How do you pick a 3-on-3 team? It's like, I thought that. Do you have a sort of point guard role, getting it into the big, and do you rely on quickness, or do you just get people that can post up and do what they do, or whatever? So the women's team's more of a mix, whereas the men's team's just out and out power inside.
So just to wrap up, or not wrap up, but just clarify, this is from the FIBA press release. A total of 24 teams from 17 different countries have earned their ticket to the Eiffel Tower, in front of which FIBA 3x3 Euro Cup 2021 will take place on September 10th to 12th. So there we go.
What if it rains?
What if it rains? Hey, it's Paris in September. It's not going to rain. It's beautiful.
What if it did? What would happen? Did they get a little cover?
Well, that was my first thought. Do they put a massive tarp over it?
Yeah.
Secondly, can 3-on-3 just be played in the rain, depending on how much rain?
You know what, Daz? I don't think you're going to find a baller anywhere in the world willing to play in the rain.
Well, I mean, Kazzy B, just sign her up.
Oh, yeah, Kazzy B for sure. But can you imagine Hessen's agent or Temi's agent? It's like, whoa, wait a minute.
Hang on.
Are we insured for playing in the rain outdoors in Paris? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't know what those floors are like. I don't know.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, I've seen some really sweet arenas for 3x3 on YouTube where they've got like a sort of roof over them. The sides are open out, but there is like a roof over it. So I mean, the fact that they do it in Paris, they're obviously spending some money on it. So maybe they'll do like a sort of roof thing.
So have you ever seen much World Tour action?
I haven't. I'm really just getting into it now.
Yeah, I mean, similar story with me, to be honest. But some of the locations, and we talked about this with Martin, that they go to with the World Tour, it's phenomenal. And the thing with the 3-on-3 court is it's a half court. You can put it, it's effectively a half court. You can put it anywhere at all.
Well, that's it.
You can have spectacular backdrops.
When I tuned in on Sunday, I was like, oh, wow, look at that. They're right next to the sea, and you're thinking, it looks like the sea's literally right there. So if the ball goes over, is it in the water?
The ball did.
But they had
the ball did end up in the water. Little jet ski.
The sponsor's car there and everything, and you know what I mean. It's just like, they're obviously putting some money in it. I believe that Red Bull are big players in 3x3 world. They do a lot for it, and obviously they're huge. So money is no problem.
Shout out to again Martin Dion. He's got a new team, the London Warriors. And one of their women's teams made the final of a recent Red Bull event in the UK. So the Red Bull run 3x3 competitions across the UK. So it seems to be a really growing thing with lots of avenues to play. Obviously, you've got the Ball Out Tour, you've got the Red Bull events, and you've got the GG 3x3.
The biggest question on everybody's lips, though, in the world of 3x3 right now, especially in Manchester, is this: will Cazzy B be fit for Ball Out?
No. 2022, though.
We love breaking exclusive news here on the Caz and Daz show, but that is not the news.
Yeah, Caz is out with injury. Yeah, what a shame. What a shame.
But I'll be down there watching, so if we're allowed to do that.
Oh no, Caz, that goes right. You're going to be my assistant coach for the girls, the girls team we're putting in, because you know more than me about tactics and stuff like that.
Awesome. Have you got your squad picked?
In my head, I've got the best squad you've ever heard. It's whether everybody's around to do it. The Tropics are going to be doing the men's one for sure, but I'm really wanting to do a couple of under 18, maybe an under 18s and an under 16s girls teams from the academy. So you know, I've already been tapping up Charlie Rowe and Jade and those guys. So I'm hoping that they'll get a little team together.
That's brilliant. That is fantastic. Well, we're going to have to get you back on closer to those times, mate. And hear all about it.
Fun. Yeah. It's always fun talking to you guys.
Tell us about what's going on with you. What have we been up to? Apparently, we've got very exciting things afoot.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a weird one because of obviously lockdown. There's not been a lot going on. I mean, Caz is the absolute genius of streaming now. We persevered for the whole season at Bellevue doing the Mystics WBBL, and we sort of got it by the end. But with the right equipment, Caz has learned how to use OBS and all the gear, and we're providing really good streams. So streaming's been my big thing. WBBL, absolutely loved every minute of it. We're now doing the Mystics and Magic Academy as well, so that's great. Other news, we're still working hard on the Mossad Tropics documentary. There's lots going on there. But I'm just being ads around the game, loving it, missing it when the season's not on. You know, being controversial about the Giants. Standard fare.
We still doing that, are we?
Yeah, it's like sports.
Wonderful. Well, do you know what? Just a tangent into the Giants for just a moment. I know. Every time they came down to London, I enjoyed those games. They were fun games, and I enjoyed the Giants this season. What I saw of them, obviously, Giants fans probably didn't enjoy the results so much, but I thought the product that was on the floor was quite a lot of fun a lot of the time.
You know what, Daz? I actually mentioned you in this week's show, I think, because we were talking about the big thing that's going on at the moment is it looks like Jamal Anderson's going to sign for them because he's left Leicester. He's made the announcement, and they're basically put in the statement it's because he's moving to Manchester with his lovely new wife Georgia. They got married last week in Greece.
Hey, so congratulations!
Third time lucky there to cancel it twice. So they finally managed to do it, which was ace.
What if he does the reverse Helen Naylor though and goes to Sheffield?
Well, there's that one, or Cheshire, because he's been there before. But
you know
what? If we talk about things I'm gutted about, is the fact that it's great that Sheffield are back, but Caz, it means we lose Helen Naylor.
I know our Bondi Bowls MVP.
You know, everybody knows that I am the biggest Helen Naylor fan ever. So, you know, it's sad. I've always joked about it, but you know, the commitment of Helen Naylor last year was that she was coming to a couple of practices a week. She drove down from Doncaster. Now, for people that don't know as well, she's a new mum. Her baby's just turned 1. So she was working, she was travelling to practice with the baby, and then on the weekend doing the games. Just so committed to the game. And it was Kaz, how cool was it having Helen Naylor for a year? Just a
it was
great
awesome.
person. Just a great. Have you had her on the show yet?
No, we haven't.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, you need to invite her on the show. I'm sure she'd do it. She's just one of life's dudes. Absolute dude.
She's great, and getting to watch her week in and week out as well is just an absolute joy. She's just fantastic, especially like towards the end of the season as well. She had some amazing games.
Yeah, well, when she went off. But yeah, back to what we were saying about Jamel. Yeah, it looks like he's probably going to be a giant. But yeah, like you, I enjoyed it as well. But what I was saying about mentioning you is, do you remember way before the season when we were talking on Below the Rim about Jordan Whelan, and you were like, give him the keys? That's been my saying with it all year. It's
there you go. You're welcome. You can have that.
And it was weird because he ended up. He was coming in as a sixth man, and it was a bit like, give him the keys, And he had a career season. You got to see Jordan up close and personal every week when he was at London, and we just felt like, Daz, you said it, he's been around, he's learned his craft, and he's going to come back to Giants, and he's probably going to do well. And for me, he exceeded expectations. So I'm just hoping that they're going to be banging at his door, because if you could build a team around Jordan Whelan, Jamal Anderson, and David Ulf, you've got three legit British stars, and then work around that. So that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah,
that would be a really, really strong base from which to build. Sure. And could you convince Aaron Gramapor to get involved a little bit? Just if he's about.
It depends on what offers he gets, because Aaron's a high dollar player. He absolutely is. He's got a lot of worth out there, so I don't really think that he's going to be within Giants' budget, to be honest. Obviously, he it's pretty obvious that he joined him for a couple of games because he wanted to just stay game fit. He was working out. I'd see him all the time at the Manchester Basketball Centre working out, and I think he just wanted some game time. The horrible thing, obviously, was that he got hurt. So it kind of ended the plan a little bit. But yeah, great guy.
Speaking of great guys, Adam Masters, thank you so much for joining us, mate. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Much love to you guys. I love that you're on your 30th episode. That's amazing. I still remember sending the WhatsApp linking you guys together.
Yes.
So I was just to say it, Daz, you need to sort to Caz. She's amazing. And here you are.
And here we are. Actually, there's a funny thing that you sent me, Caz, and I need to get it for the show. Is do you remember when we were at the final, the cup final, you and I?
Yes.
Well, not you and I, Caz, but me and Ants.
Me and Caz went.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. So who's walking in shot with you and me having a bit of a chat?
Yeah.
It's Caz B.
Yeah. I'm in the background just walking past. I sent him a screenshot. I'll send it on to you.
Yeah, do it. But Caz, you took the photograph of me and Daz, didn't you? Or filmed us when we were having a chat at half time.
No, that was
someone else.
Was that someone else?
That was somebody with dark hair.
Was it Danielle? It might have been Danielle.
Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, funny how things turn around, isn't it?
It is indeed. All right, mate.
All right, guys.
Forward to seeing you when it's safe.
Yeah, definitely. And
I'll see you soon.
Keep in touch, guys. It's always fun coming on.
Welcome anytime, buddy. Anytime. All right. Take care, Adam Masters of Brand 161 and, of course, Below the Rim. All right, Cazzy B. Shall we dive into the chat I had earlier with Martin? It will give Caz, give you an opportunity if you need to grab yourself a drink. I don't know. It's a couple of minutes. The full interview will be up on the YouTube channel tomorrow. Really interesting conversation just about, some of the minutiae that Ads got into a little bit there, Caz, about 3x3 as it's known, or 3-on-3 as I prefer to call it. It's pretty fun interview. Martin is an absolute wonderful human being. And hopefully people enjoy the conversation, and we'll be back live in about 10 minutes time. Daz show or as a standalone thing, we will see. You're going to find out in the future. It is, of course, the man behind the GG 3-on-3 It's Mr. Martin Dion. Martin, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, thanks. Very well. You know, it's been incredibly busy. The 3x3 season is upon us right now, but I'm well. How are you?
This weekend's events with GB men and women taking to Romania, where, you know, part of the world where you tell us that you've visited. And well, the women, my goodness, tell us what you made of it.
I'll tell you what. I mean, bearing in mind that a lot of players have just been playing 5-on-5, for those GB women to come in and pretty much destroy other teams is pretty phenomenal. You know, Eastern European teams, and actually the French as well, to be fair, are fantastic players, and they're quite big. They're quite brutal in some respects. You know, they're really aggressive. But all the women that played this weekend just came out and just absolutely destroyed it. The thing that I found in particular with the female squads, and I noticed this both at camp and also just whilst they were playing in the highlights, is that mentally they are very smart. The GB women are very clever players. And, you know, one of the big things that we try and kind of advocate for, you know, for the London Warriors is ball movement. It's so important when you're playing 3x3 to know your space, to know where your space is, and to play as a team. But you've got to move. You have to move. There's no room to stop and like stand. And, you know, in 5-on-5, okay, you can walk the ball up the court a little bit. If there's maybe a foul, you can look to the ref. In 3x3 basketball, you just don't have that opportunity. And all the female players for GB just like literally came to play and destroy the other players. I mean, the aggression was incredible. Some of the finesse, some of the footwork from some of the players was just absolutely amazing. And they kind of knew where their strengths were. And actually, to be fair, I actually did see that at camp as well. And it's just amazing to see that on an international stage. So yeah, really putting like female ballers from GB on the map, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
If you're not aware of the results already, so GB were in Pool B. They played Hungary, who are they ranked third in Europe or third seed going into this? Pretty highly rated.
Very highly ranked. Yeah.
So
Yeah, Hungarians are brilliant. Yeah. Sorry, go on, Karen. Yeah.
Sorry, that was a 12-17 win for GB. And then it was a bit of a demolition of Slovakia came next, a 13-21 GB victory. That set up a qualification game, so GB topped their pool. They played the second-ranked team from another pool. That was Belarus, and it was a lot closer, 16-14 the final. So GB, undefeated, they punch their ticket. They're headed to Paris. Now, what is in Paris, Martin? What are they going to find there?
Well, they're going to find some very difficult teams to play against, so that is for sure. You know, Paris, the reason, well, primarily, I believe the reason why Paris is becoming this kind of hotbed for activity is obviously they're leading towards the Olympics as well for themselves. But they have incredible teams. The French teams are just unbelievable. And as we know, like the culture, the basketball culture is so strong over there. Yeah. And so I believe they just, you know, they're kind of holding it there because the basketball culture just generally is so clever. It is so strong. And I think it's a clever move is what I was going to say by FIBA to have those qualifiers there because they know the culture over there. I mean, you know, like the NBA obviously moved NBA Europe over to Paris as well. God, it seems like everything's going over there.
Yeah. I mean, they've got the Quad tournament as well. Yes,
exactly. Yeah, they've got what is it, K54, right? So yeah. Actually, funny story about that. 2 years ago, I either was going to go to K54 or to the FIBA 3x3 in Amsterdam in the World Tour, and I actually made the call to go to the Amsterdam World Tour, and then like K54, like I just saw like everyone's going, like Jason Tatum's there, Russell Westbrook's there, but the reality is that when I went to the FIBA 3x3 Amsterdam, like it's phenomenal. Like the atmosphere is just incredible. So yeah, the atmosphere is going to be amazing. They're going to face some very, very strong teams. But you know, all of them, Chantel, Shani, Shakila, like Temi, I mean, all of them are so experienced.
Yeah.
You know, as players themselves, both individually for their own teams, and like there's former Olympians on that squad too, so they're very used to playing on the international stage as well. And
we've got a WNBA champion in our roster, so
yeah, for sure.
Pretty
and
nice.
and if you saw, Temi's footwork is ridiculous too, and playing down low too. But all of them, that there's that element, but there's also just them combined. I actually think they're gonna, hopefully they'll do really well in Paris. Keeping a very, very close eye on that. So definitely.
Now, for me, one thing that gets me really excited about this team is the fact that we've got Shanice Beckford-Norton of, you already know, the London Lions playing.
Yeah.
To me, that's so exciting to have WBBL athletes on this stage. Like, I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, this is kind of the whole point of 3x3 basketball, because it allows players that may not have even had an opportunity of playing on a different, on a national team or whatever it might be, and actually gives them the opportunity to do so. But also 3x3 basketball allows for a different type of basketball. It's for players that are also very creative. You don't have a coach in 3x3 basketball whilst they're playing. So if you have a coach there and he's actually coaching the team, you actually get penalized for that.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So you need smart players. They sub each other. They don't get, the coach doesn't say you need a timeout. They call their timeouts. They sub each other. So it forces you mentally to be smart and great decision makers. But also it allows you the opportunity to it's not like your coach is going to have a go if you go ISO, because you're allowed to at this point. and so having Shanice and having her on the team as well is fantastic. But it really does provide an amazing opportunity for players that may not have had that chance before to play. So yeah, it's brilliant seeing her on the squad. Yeah, for sure. And I think from what you see from the photos and the videos and actually her game tape, she looks like she's having fun as well.
And this week, so Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we had GB under 23s action in what is this one called? The League of Nations.
The League of Nations, yes, that's right.
So what can you tell me about the League of Nations?
So it's really just an opportunity, much like the international team that we're playing in Israel, in Romania, to play against one another. And really another chance for kind of nations and kind of international and for countries to get together and provide an opportunity for younger players too. FIBA 3x3 provides both that kind of those levels, if you like, and those different age groups to play on a kind of very high level international scale. And so both. I mean, it gives it gives another opportunity for unders to go and play. So you've got the likes of kind of Paige and Abby and Lauren and those guys playing. And then obviously, what's funny is that what I find is that you'll see under 23 players, both the men and the women, and you're like, I can't believe they're under 23. I can't believe this is the League of Nations and they're under 23, because some of them are absolute giants, right?
Wow.
And they're throwing down the men's team, they're throwing down these crazy players, and they're just huge. But I actually really like it. I think it's a fantastic opportunity because as a younger player, loads of energy. There's, I spoke to a pro player this week and I asked him what he thought about 3x3 basketball. And he told me that actually there's an opportunity to have a bit of swag, a bit more swag on the court. Not exactly, no one's going to tell you off for kind of, showing more emotion on the court. And the way that you play, as I mentioned before, is way more kind of in that street ball vibe. So it gives younger opportunities to play, a chance to play there too. So yeah, just another really great example of opportunities for younger players to play on an international scale. And the weather just looks amazing out there. It's incredible.
So GB women played 6 games. They played against France, Israel 2, and the Netherlands. And they picked up 2 victories. They were both over Israel yesterday, 17-14. And on Tuesday, 10-8 over Israel 2. In fact, it might have just been, was it just Israel? No, it was Israel 2 as well on Wednesday. So, that's awesome. Congratulations on, first time in these competitions. getting wins. So, how does that stand GB under 20s or under 23s instead for the future?
I mean, hopefully if any of the players see this, they won't want me saying this, but it took them a little bit of time to get into the rhythm of 3x3. They were at camp, but then, a couple of weeks later, they're thrown into the mix against other teams that are relatively well versed. Netherlands, for example, are just fantastic teams, and any of the others to be fair. But the wins over Israel were actually very surprising, and in terms of just how well they did. But I think later on in the stages, as in after the first day, they got acclimatized to the weather because it's super hot out there. There's a little bit of wind by the beach in there. I think they were in Tel Aviv, right? So a little bit of wind there. They're getting used to the style of play. I mean, it is different to the 5-on-5 game. There's just no doubt about it. You're constantly moving. You're playing for 10 minutes. There's no check ball, so you don't really get a rest. And the one important thing that every player just needs to know if you play 3x3, you can't wait for the referee. You just can't look up and wait for a foul. There's just no way. And I think what happened was you players started to realize, okay, look, we're in this. We just got to play. We just got to play to the best of our abilities.
Yeah.
And then you saw some of the shooting. I mean, some of the shooting on the female team were incredible. They were knocking down shots left, right, and center. And I think 3x3 also forces you to become confident in your shot. There's no room for you to just hang fire. There's only 12 seconds. So the shot clock is half what you're used to, essentially. And in 12 seconds, okay, that's not a long time to try and get a shot up. So, and every time you hear that shot clock buzzer going, it's just the most annoying thing in the world. So, so as a player, you've got to, if you've got space, you've got to hit that shot. And you can see it after day one. You can see the other days, the teams doing that. Way more confident in their shots, way more confident building chemistry as a team. There's a long way to go, but amazing signs, definitely great signs from both teams, for sure.
No, I completely agree. I mean, this is, to go from 6-9 and a 5-22 scores to Israel and France, respectively. Though I like the fact, kept Israel to 9 points.
Yeah.
Could be something, could be nothing. That strikes me as something.
Yeah. I mean, you have to play. You have to be great at offense. You're playing for 21 points. You're playing season ones, but if your D isn't on point, you're dead. You're dead. Help D and knowing when to switch, and just. I mean, literally, you're pretty much having to switch all the time anyway because they set one. Every play is like a screen or a slip or whatever it might be, and it's crazy. It can be mayhem on the court, and so you're absolutely right. It's a really good observation, actually. The fact that they help them to such low points is a really good sign. And
that was the same story the next day. Held France to 10 and Israel to 8 in the 10-8 win. So, big improvements looking day by day. And then by Wednesday, by yesterday, putting up 16 and 17 points respectively in the two games. No, 17 points in against Israel.
But that's what happens though, because you get into the flow, you get into the flow, and I actually see this in the tournaments that I run as well. When they first start playing, when teams first start playing, they'll battle it out, they'll win. It'll be very low scoring, and as the day progresses, you'll get way more points because they become way more confident on the court. The ball is different as well, so the ball is a size 6 but weight of a 7.
And we're back. Seamless. That transition was, wasn't it? You're still muted, so hey. So huge thank you again to Martin Dion of GG3x3. Sorry, I was about to credit him with brand 161. Of course, that is our friend Adam Masters, and of course, Martin's just set up the London Warriors basketball 3-on-3 basketball team, 2 men's teams, 2 women's teams, and a host of great people involved around that program. Including friend of Focus Hoops, the strength and conditioning legend, Nate Lucas, who went to the last World Cup as the strength and conditioning coach for Angola. So incredible pedigree, also part of the Root Beer gang. So good for those guys working together again. Really excited for them. Really excited to see what they can do. Now, Caz, I said be ready. Be ready to hear from our sponsors, Notch. Word from our sponsors, Notch, the mark of achievement, and we are very glad to have them on board with FocusHoops this year. They make fantastic bracelets that look super stylish and really help you celebrate your sporting achievement. They've just launched a basketball collection, and we're really excited to be on board with them. Let's imagine that you're a player. Let's say that you're Courtney Vandersloot. You got 18 assists in a single ball game, and you want a notch and a bracelet to commemorate that fact. Well, you can do just that. Customize it to your team colors, put the year that you achieved it, and get it the exact size that you need. There are a number of the colors available. Or maybe you're a coach. Maybe you're the coach of a basketball team. Let's just say that you're the London Tyrannosaurus Rex. Your team wears red. You had the league's most valuable player, the MVP, and you want to celebrate that. You want to award them with a great looking notch bracelet. Well, you can do just that. And you can get it saying MVP on the notch itself. That's the charm. You can get the colour you want. Gold is one that I go for if we're commemorating the best player in the league. We could even get the team logo, if it's the Tyrannosaurus Rex, let's say, on there. And present it in a beautiful presentation case. Huge thanks for Notch for coming on board FocusHoops. We're back, and before we properly dive into all things women's basketball, it's time to bring back Charity Corner, if that's all right.
That's all right with me.
That's all right with Caz. All right, so this one's pretty exciting. Very excited to be talking about this one because it's something that I've known about for some time. But not a lot of people have. But now it's time to be announced. Friend of FocusHoops, the Ketchup Queen. I don't think she's going to appreciate that nickname, but whatever. Katherine Hulme, WBBL reigning league champion, two-time WNBL Division 1 playoff MVP, Anglia-Ruskin legend, Katherine Hulme has been training for Ironman. If you don't know what Ironman is, listen to this, okay? You do, all in one day, it's a triathlon. You do a 3.86 kilometer swim. That's 2.4 miles in old money. You then ride a bike for 180.2 kilometers or 112 miles. Sounds easy enough, right? Then you run a marathon. That is 26 miles. That's 42.2 kilometers. In one day, in one race. It's incredible. The world record in the men's is about 7.5 hours. It's unbelievable. This is from Katherine's justgiving.com page. Link is in the description of this video if you want to go and check it out. Long story short, I am doing an Ironman distance triathlon. This is the most challenging thing I've ever done, but the journey to get here has been amazing. Realizing what my body is capable of, trusting the process, pushing myself further than I ever thought I could, experiencing the joy of the open road, and training with some incredible people along the way. We know some of those people. They are incredible. So huge congratulations to everybody involved in Kat and her team moving forward. I've been keeping a track of Iron Woman journey with daily photos. It's on Instagram. It's catherines.ironwoman.diary on Instagram. Well worth a look. I'm raising money for the MS Society for those close to me with MS, and because the charity does such a wonderful job supporting the MS community. Thank you for your support, Katherine. So over 130,000 people in the UK have multiple sclerosis. It's unpredictable and different for everyone. It doesn't have to be this way. We understand what life's like with MS. We're here for you for the highs, lows, and everything in together. We're strong enough to stop MS. So that is the Multiple Sclerosis Society. Her Just Giving information is in the description to this video. And Katherine has been training for this for 549 days, because each event she's built up for, the 16-week training cycle, plus the additional training, plus being an elite level basketball player, has been cancelled. But now finally she gets to run her race in a couple of weeks' time. In fact, it is on the 18th of July, Ironborn long distance triathlon. So huge congratulations to Katherine for getting this far in her journey, and for her now coming out into the open with her triathlon journey. Super excited for her to be able to race down at this event. If you're able to consider giving to it, sharing it, or just being like, that is ridiculous, how does one train for Ironman? Check out Katherine's details. It's in the description below.
That's amazing. I applaud Kat. I support her. What a great charity. What a great cause. I would not do that in my life ever. No. I could not do that. I can't. That's insane.
It is. The training that she's been going on has been amazing. Once it's all done, we need to get her on to tell us about her thoughts about ketchup and how she feels about, has she been eating much ketchup during the Ironman training? Obviously, the last season's been fascinating from the outside looking in. Of course, season stopped, season starts, hurts her foot in training, plays 1 or 2 games with Angela Ruskin, season stops, ends up playing with Seven Oaks Suns, wins a league title. How's all that been? I'm interested to find out. I'm sure we all are. So, Katherine, one day we're going to get you. But no.
The secret to the Ironman. Maybe that's it.
That's a good shout. That is a good shout. So, if you are able to support, in the description. Okay. Caz, first thing, I want you to tell me what you make of the Hatters logo.
I love it. Love it. I like that they've incorporated the 60 years. I think it's cool.
I think it is properly cool as well. Some people won't like me saying that, and that's okay. So we had a EuroBasket women's final. France breezed by Belarus in the semi-final. Serbia snuck by Belgium by a single solitary point to make it to the final game. And well, what happened there? It was one-way traffic. Serbia are EuroBasket champions, having once again defeated France in the final, 63-54 in Valencia on Sunday evening. It was an entertaining game. I'd well recommend it. I'd really recommend going back and checking it out. But yeah, how tough is this for France? This is their 5th EuroBasket final in a row. How many have they won, Caz?
I want to say none.
None. They've made the last 5 finals and they've lost them all. Twice now to Serbia. They've lost to Spain and I think Russia as well. So yeah, just brutal. France never looked in it. They were never in. They never looked comfortable. They were taking a lot of really poor, off-balance, rushed mid-range shots. And I love, and I think you do as well, guys, I love the fact that we have the mid-range women's basketball and in European basketball, and then European women's basketball, it's mid-range.
I love the mid-range. Anyone that's seen me play as well knows I love the mid-range.
Yeah, we've all seen the clips, Caz. But this was bad. And I was sat there just talking to, just chatting at anybody that would listen, like, that's a bad shot. And it would miss. It's like, that's a bad, don't rush in it.
Oh.
And you had players like Gabby Williams just not in their real zone. There was one of the All-Star 5. Who was it? It was Ndine Miem, who had a great tournament, but in the final completely was either kept out of it or just didn't show up of their own accord. And it's this same repeating story again for France. It was never close. The closest it got was 5 points So once Serbia had the lead, I think the closest it got was to within 5 points. And then after that, they just scooted away. Marine Johannes of France, dead impressive. She really fought back, but it was kind of a one-person effort. Sonja Vasic was named the Tissot MVP of the tournament. And in the final, she had 12 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Yvonne Anderson as well, Caz. I know you enjoy Yvonne Anderson's play. She was awesome in the final, 18 points, 4 assists. And I think all of it was mid-range or paint. Love it.
So when you watched, I didn't actually watch this game, so I need to catch up on it. But do you think Serbia just did a really good job scouting France? Or was it a little bit of Serbia did a really good job, but France kind of beat themselves a little bit as well?
I don't know for definite. My hunch is it's a bit column A, it's a bit column B, and then we've got mysterious secret column C, where people more qualified than myself have said that France were never tested all the way through the tournament.
Okay.
Now, was that because they were playing, they had the easier side of the bracket?
Right.
Or was that because they were just on cruise control and just beating teams easily? I can't speak to that. But they were never in their rhythm. So I do wonder if France, and let me know in the comments what you made of it, but if France just, the occasion got to them. Because I do wonder if that is a factor. And you hate to say that about elite athletes, but I do wonder how much that could be a factor. And yeah, I think Serbia as well, the way they played, just had them a bit off their game, because Serbia, they were efficient. They were very efficient during the game, and that can knock teams a little bit.
Something that was really awesome that I saw afterwards that I think Mikey shared with us, the Serbia team getting back home and the crowds that were waiting, they had a bit of a celebration, like to equate it to something I've only ever seen here when football teams win something, win a thing.
Yeah. When Manchester United won the treble. Yeah, look like
probably.
that.
Yeah. But the sheer amount of people that were there to support women's basketball in Serbia, it's just awesome. There's a clip. We'll have to share it. We'll have to reshare it on the Twitter.
Get that on the Twitter. Kaz, would you like to know who was in the All-Star 5? I know you already know, but let's keep up the pretense.
Yes.
So obviously, Sonja Vasic was the MVP. She averaged 15.5 points per game, 7.2 boards, and 4.2 assists, as well as, capping it with the gold medal. Indine Miem of France, who, again, did not have a good final, but she had 12.8 points and 4.7 rebounds per game. Then we had some players that, Kaz, you're very familiar with. First off, the Belgian, Emma Mieseman, had 20.7 points per game, 8.5 rebounds, and 4.5 dimes. We had Julie Allemande. She had 9 points, 5.3 assists, and 1.7 steals. And finally, John Quell Jones, JJ themselves, 24 rebounds and 29 points against France in the losing bid. That's just absurd.
She is ridiculous.
Is that your stat line of the week?
Yes.
No, perfect. Even though it was technical last week. Also, she finished with 24.3 points, 16.8 rebounds, and 3 assists per game. John Quell Jones is unreal. And there's nothing that we didn't already know. So there we go. That is EuroBasket. Now, whilst I was looking up all things EuroBasket for that, I stumbled across this. Now, this isn't for today, but this is for the future. How cool is this? So the first EuroBasket Women's was held in Italy in 1938. This is 5 years after the first men's tournament. And here's on the right, this is a picture lifted from Wikipedia, so big shout to Wikipedia. Was a game between Lithuania and Italy. I think Italy are in the shorts, whereas Lithuania are in the skirts. I could be mistaken on that, but that's the way around. I think it is. But yeah, incredible. I didn't realize this tournament had such the lineage, starting 1938. Obviously, it was delayed after that until 1950, given the World Wars and recovery from that. But since 1950, it has been consistently every 2 years, and then it's moved to the odd years calendar. So just thought that was really, really interesting. Italy won that tournament. They had they tied top three in the tournament. It was Italy, Lithuania, and Poland. And of the three, Italy had the best three-way tie points differential between the three. So there we go. A little trip down memory lane for us. Some of the results in that tournament were absolutely wild. I think like Switzerland and France. No, Switzerland and France. Yeah, Switzerland and France played like a 6-5 game of basketball. Leah Parcell says, "Look at the skirts." I know. Imagine, Leah. This is what next season looks like for Leah Parcell. Where is it? Could you imagine?
Was it with the 5-on-5 rules or the 6-on-6 rules? Did it say?
Ooh, that's a great question. I don't know. I do not know. Is this telling us anything? No, that tells us nothing.
There's a super interesting book called Shattering the Glass that goes into the history of the women's game. Touches a little bit on some of the European bit, but it's mostly the American side of it. But it's dead interesting. Dead interesting.
dead interesting. Well, I mean, I love this photograph. It's just, but look at the crowd. Look at the people, Kaz. Look at the crowd.
There's teams in Canada in the 30s that were like being supported. There was like 20,000 people there. Like it's crazy the amount of people that would go and watch it in the thousands.
But Kaz, nobody watches women's sport, mate. Like we know this. Like what are you saying?
I know. It's like it's an illusion. Nobody was there.
Big sarcasm. Just big sarcasm disclaimer, just in case. And I love this. I love some of the artwork from the time on posters and stuff like this. And that's just so cool.
That is really cool.
So we're going to have a bit of a deeper dive into the history of EuroBasket moving forward. Kaz, who is the winningest team in EuroBasket? Obviously, we're talking about the women's edition.
I knew this like 2 weeks ago, and now I've forgotten. Can you put up the little graphic again?
The graphic? What of that?
Yeah. No, the tournament one.
Oh, this one? No, not of all time. Who is the winningest team in all-time history?
Spain?
Soviet Union.
No. Soviet Union.
They won it basically every year bar one from, and now let me get this right. I messaged somebody this yesterday when I was just finding out about all this. They won it. Okay, so from 1950 to 1991, the Soviet Union won every single edition except once when they lost to Bulgaria in Bulgaria. So, yeah, dominant. I think it was 26 titles the Soviet Union have.
Wow.
The skirts as uniforms? Yes. How wild are those? Yeah, things that I don't know if you love to see, but it's really interesting to see.
Do you know why that is? Why that was? That was in the book that I was reading. Women still had to be feminine. They couldn't be masculine and play a sport. So that was the feminine side of, the deal. Okay, you can play a sport, but you have to look feminine.
It's so dumb. Dumbest thing in the world.
Until some people came along and like argued against it, and some teams were like, "Nope, we're not doing that. It's easier to play in shorts."
I mean, again, what I assume is Italy. I could be completely wrong. There's some short-looking shorts, man.
It's interesting that, yeah. So there's obviously two different rules, different teams,
two different schools. Also, look at the shoes. That's what really draws my eye. The skirts are one thing, but those shoes look. I don't know what I'm seeing, but it's really fascinating. So, yeah, that's an amazing photograph. So that's really, really cool. Shall we move to the Women's British Basketball League? Obviously, the Hatters are back. We know this. Daz, you told us all when you were flying solo last week. What a good job you did as well. Wow. There's more. That makes 12. What about lucky 13 teams? That's right. We've got the Gloucester City Queens joining the WBBL from next season. Out of the blue, we got a little tip off from somebody. We're not going to say who, but saying big news coming Monday, and this was huge news. So we now have a new franchise. The head coach has not been officially announced, but the club's CEO is Jay Marriott, former BBL player, former Plymouth Raiders head coach, and is the host of the incredibly successful BBL podcast, The BBL Show. Gloucester City Queens, they also have a men's program. They've got a men's team called the Kings, and they are going to operate like Bristol Flyers operate in part of the Gloucester Sport. So Gloucester City Football Club, AFC, Gloucester AFC. Anyway, the men's football team in Gloucester, and I think maybe the cricket club and a couple of others, they're involved, and they're going to share expertise, and it's going to be under one banner of Gloucester Sport. It's a really smart way to run. Bristol have shown us how efficient and effective it can be. They have some of the best social media in the league. Why is that? Well, they've got Joel Osborne, who's amazing. I'm just going on about Bristol right now. Just don't mind me a sec. But Joel's amazing, but they're also able to lean on all of Bristol Sport, and that is hopefully what Gloucester are going to have as well. So awesome to see. We're now up to 13 teams in the WBBL. Caz, what do you make of that?
It's great. The more teams we have, the more exposure the league gets. The talent that we've got in this country is great and needs the platform. So I'm all for it. It would be nice to have another team so we can have an even number, just for niceness to look at in the standings.
Just even
no other reason than that.
No, well, also we don't have to worry about bye weeks as well.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Give us a 14th team. I think North Wales could do one. Put one in Colwyn Bay.
Leeds
maybe
could have one.
Leeds could have one.
Birmingham, but it was a nice surprise. It was a nice a nice announcement to know. And it's maybe not something that we've talked about in the WBBL. It was a pretty cool announcement to just be like, here's a team. So that's going to be really good. So I'll be excited to see them when they come to Manchester.
Leah Parcell says, awesome news. If they're linked to a football team, there should be good funding and facilities behind them to form a decent program. Yeah, fingers crossed. Now, Gloucester, their football team is Conference North. I want to say, let me just check. I know Colwyn Bay had a player who left Colwyn Bay and signed for Gloucester back in the day. So make of that what you will. Yes, National League North. So, we're not talking the same literal league as what Bristol Sport have with Bristol Rovers, but still, that's not nothing. That's going to be good stuff. And again, it's that shared knowledge, that shared experience is going to be beneficial for all of the clubs involved. So I'm dead excited. Hopefully, they make a real success of it. Good luck to them. Okay, Caz.
Yes. Who's got the stats this week?
Not me. Not really. I mean, a bit, but no. Because look, Sparks the bottom of the Western Conference because
Wait.
What?
We conferences in the WNBA and nobody cares the conferences.
I know, but still, this is what Google feeds me, so we're going to go with it. Let's look at Conference Plus. It fits neatly into the screen. So Aces and the Storm remain atop the WNBA, the top two teams in the country, top two teams in the West. And then we've got the Sparks down there. There's the 6-9 plus LA Sparks. Like Caz, just live look at Caz right now. That's just
I'm not too sad. That's okay. They've had a tough run. They've lost the Ogumke sisters. Christy Tolliver got smacked in the face and couldn't see the other day, and they've had Bria Holmes out. So they're actually doing better than I think people expected with Candace Parker gone, Chelsea Gray gone, and having the Ogumekes out. They've been on a really tough run. They've got They played the Aces last night. They played them again in a couple of days. They played the Storm, so they have got a tough run of 3 games. But after that, the schedule eases up again. They're going to be a 500 team by the end of the season, if slightly over. And they've just re-signed Kylie Samuelson, who is having an amazing impact on the team. So she had a career high 13 points last week. And so Kylie comes off, she scores threes, but the work she's doing that's not recorded in the stat sheet is invaluable to the Sparks. She's come off the bench and she has made an impact. She's had the biggest plus minus, I believe it was, net rating off the bench for the team. So when she's on the court, if she's not scoring, she's still making a difference. And that's something that Derek Fisher's spoken about and the rest of the team have spoken about. So that's a good pickup. The big news as well, Lauren Cox has just signed with the Sparks, which is going to be really good for them because they need some size inside. Necker and Shanae should be back in the next couple of weeks. But even so, adding some size, rebounding is where they struggled. And I feel like I mentioned that last year. They had Candice Parker, but aside from Candice, there wasn't really anyone else getting those rebounds. Zoe B this season, but Lauren Cox, if she gets the chance to play, which it looks like she will do, obviously not had a lot of minutes in Indiana over the last last season, a rookie season, and this year. But I think she's going to have a really good impact. That's going to be a really good pickup for LA, and a very weird move on Indiana's half to not try and trade her to get something for her. But
let's look at the East.
Let's not worry about the Sparks. They're fine. It's all right. It's all good. And their defense, it's beautiful. You want to watch some defense? Watch the Sparks. It's great. They just need to match that intensity with the offense. They just need some offense.
I mean, the only thing I will say on the Sparks is this is Los Angeles. This is one of the major basketball epicenter of basketball. Yeah. You can't be like, I mean, of course you can. You can say and do what you want, but they shouldn't be 11th in a 12-team league.
They're not 11th if you look at the standings. They're third from bottom. They're the same as Atlanta. It's tied.
They shouldn't be the same as Atlanta.
But they've had Christy Tolliver out. They've had Aguma McKay's out. They've had Amanda Zone be missed the first 3 games. Bria Hartley's missed the last 2-3 games. They're not playing with a full team. They've got no offense apart from Erica Wheeler. So it's not unexpected. And they're really good. They're a really good defensive team. And they just need. And when Shanae and Necker come back, and when Lauren Cox gets going, it's fine. It's all good.
Lauren Cox being cut by the Indiana Fever just makes no sense.
I found that weird. So for anyone that doesn't know, Lauren Cox was the 3rd overall pick in the draft last season.
Yep.
Last draft, 2020 draft. So we know it's hard to make a WNBA roster. 3rd round picks get cut. 2nd round picks get cut. We've seen teams cut 1st round picks this season. They're now cutting lottery picks. It's insane.
It doesn't make a whole heap of sense to me. I will be perfectly honest. Just what are we doing?
I find it strange they couldn't trade her even for, say, a 3rd round pick for something. For something, because she's not a bad player at all. She's been given very little chance to get on the court in Indiana, and whether that's because of injuries, not fitting in with the roster and things, because she was injured a little bit last year, and she had COVID, I think, before the start of camp, so she was late getting to the bubble anyway. But you've taken a pick in 3rd, and you've not got anything from it. So what was the point in that pick?
This season, she was just not playing. Like last season, she averaged 13 minutes per game in her 14 games. This season for Indiana, she averaged 8 minutes a game. Already for Los Angeles. She played
19 minutes last night.
Yeah, 19 minutes last night. 4 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist on her debut, 2 steals and a block, and only 1 foul. That's a really nice day.
Yeah.
That is
especially on the day she signed the contract. No practice, no training time, no warm up. Get to LA, go play Vegas, the top seeded team, and figure it out. And she, I think she did really well. Yeah. And I think if that's what she can do in a very small sample size of like 0 preparation, give her a few weeks after the Olympic break, got time to gel. She's going to be really good. She's going to be a really good asset for them off the bench. Yeah,
I'm happy that she's got a team. I'm happy that Sparks have got what I think could be a really, really good player in Lauren Cox. I liked what little I saw of her last year. Awesome stuff. Shall we stay in the WNBA?
Yes.
Shall we look at the Rookie of the Month?
Yes.
It's Michaela Onyenwere. 8.9 points per game, 2.5 rebounds per game. And listen, I know I'm not being critical right now. I've just seen a tweet. That says Onyenwere saw the tight MVP race and said, I'm going to make Rookie of the Year easy for y'all. And that is Robo Coco, or No It's Becky on Twitter. Lovely Twitter account. Definitely give them a follow. Now, I disagree with the fundamental premise of this tweet. Simply because what rookies are getting played right now?
None of them.
It's a one-person race because the coaches have seemingly decided to make it a one-person race. So I think it's interesting.
Charlie Collier's averaging the second most minutes after Michaela, and that's 13 minutes, and she's averaging 3 points a game.
The next person, shall we do our usual? Shall we do the looking at a screen, looking at a website together? Shall we do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
I find it interesting because last year, Rookie of the Year Rookie of the Year, we were coming down to a 2 or 3, weren't we? But the amount of rookies that were getting playing time last year was significantly higher than it has been because of the situation in the bubble. And it's just interesting that this year it's kind of flipped completely.
So Michaela Onyenwere is averaging 23.3 minutes per game, 8.9 points, 2.5 rebounds, 0.6 assists. The next highest in minutes is Charlie Collier, 13.8. Then Ari McDonald, 13.4. Bernadette Hayter, 11.3. And Arel Gordiantes, 10 minutes. And then from then it's less than 10 minutes a game. It's like, and there's only 17 rookies in the whole league, apparently, now, which I can believe that. That's just, what are we doing?
I know, it's crazy.
And and we were talking off air beforehand. It's like, where's Ari? Well, actually, to be fair, she's scoring. She's playing some minutes. She's shooting relatively efficiently in the last month. Perfect from the line. And then you got Natasha Mack, who has played once, so ignore that. But yeah, I don't know. It's just play your rookies. Or don't. I suppose it's not a development league, and this is a conversation that we've had a couple of times. I think is, and I've had people on Twitter it isn't a development league; it's a win now summer league.
Yeah.
So,
but if you're on a team that is not winning now and looks like they aren't going to win now, what's the harm in playing the rookies?
Yeah, and why would you cut the 3 number overall pick? Trying to find logic in what that team does is complete waste of time. All-Star. Walk us through All-Star. How does this work, Caz?
I mean, it's quite confusing, but the voting didn't make sense to me. I think there was some combination of fan vote, media vote, and something else.
Mm-hmm.
and that came up to 36 players, and then I think coaches and some panel picked the 12 All-Stars. I think that's what happened. It seemed weird. I kept trying to vote and it wouldn't let me, so I don't know what happened there. But this is the final 12 on the left-hand side, and they're going to be playing the US Olympic team in the All-Star Games. So instead of the traditional East v West or team captain v team captain, it's the Olympic team versus these All-Stars that were picked from like a short list of the vote.
This process seems incredibly convoluted.
Yeah, it unnecessarily so.
I'm just going to read off the official press release. The selection process to determine the team WNBA for the WNBA All-Star 2021 began with a combination of voting by fans, 50% of the votes, current WNBA players, 25%, and a national panel of sports writers and broadcasters, 25%, from June 15th to the 27th. Very short window for All-Star. From the list of the top 36 vote getters who are not members of the USA Olympic team, WNBA head coaches selected the 12 who will play for Team WNBA All-Stars. Below is the pool of 36 players from which the head coach made their selections. What kind of system is this?
I mean, I can't say I've ever dug too deep into All-Star before, but is that how they've always done it? I feel like I could vote before, and
I don't know.
You know, I don't I don't know if this is new or if it's in response to maybe is there a little bit of we've got to pick the team that will actually like properly rival the Olympic team to give them the essentially practice time against another top tier team.
That is the only thing I can think of, is that this has been selected by the WNBA head coaches to be competitive for the USA women, because I don't think this is going to get played like a normal All-Star. I could be completely wrong, but I would reckon that we're going to see bordering on a proper game of basketball here.
There's going to be some people with a point to prove on some teams.
There are going to be some people with a big point to prove.
And I actually I wouldn't be surprised if Team WNBA won, and let me tell you why. Jonquel Jones is ridiculous. And she'll be going up against Griner and Sylvia Fowles, which is super tough. But anyone with Jonquel Jones on the team, I give them a head start.
I love Jonquel Jones. I think she's awesome. Also, Betnaja Laney is in it. How cool is that?
I love that.
Most improved player, All-Star, who knows, MVP one day. Arike Ogunbowale, the legend. Candace Parker, Satunicorn, yes. Sloot, Courtney Williams, Dewana Bonner, Liz Cambage, Kalia Cooper, Dereka Hamby. We love Dereka Hamby as well. Brianna Jones. Yeah, that's a good lineup. That is.
Yeah, what surprised me as well is some of the first-time All-Stars are players that I kind of, if you just said, you sort of think, why have they not been All-Stars before? So out of those that you mentioned, so Kalia Copper, Dereka Hamby, Betnaja Laney, Arike Ogunbowale, Brianna Jones. But Courtney Williams has never been an All-Star, and Dereka Hamby's not been an All-Star. Like, they're kind of names that I would have expected to have seen before.
Yeah, Hamby I find an interesting one. Arike I can understand because she was a rookie, and then last season there was no All-Star, so I can kind of get that.
Yeah,
but
Courtney Williams, I would have, if you'd have asked me, I would have said, yeah, she must have been an All-Star.
Yeah, must have been. I don't know. Maybe it's because of this ridiculous system.
Well,
maybe this is what they do every year. This is news to me. I feel like I've never seen this before, and I have looked into the All-Star process, previously.
Something else that's really cool is the coach for Team WNBA is going to be Lisa Leslie and Tina Thompson as co-coaches.
Nice. We like that. Mm-hmm. We like that. I'd have gone Bill Lambert myself, but
Well, I think they're celebrating the 25th.
That makes
96 Olympics.
That makes total sense. Sense.
They're doing something at halftime, I think, or before the game for the 96 Olympics, which
nice.
Super.
That's really cool. Players of the month. Tina Charles and Asia Wilson are the players of the month for June. Tina Charles of the Washington Mystics recorded average 24.7 points per game, 9.7 rebounds per game, and 2.7 assists per game. Whereas Asia Wilson, with a 7-2 record, by the way, 20 points, 10.3 rebounds, and 2.7 assists. Awesome work from both of these wicked, talented athletes.
Tina Charles on course to beat the WNBA scoring record as well. I think it's 25.3 points per game that Taurasi holds. She looks like she could beat that this season. I think, depending if Elena Del Don comes back or not.
This season?
Yeah, because if she comes back, she'll take some of the scoring away from Tina Charles.
I see. Okay, I was going to say, I was like, is she going to make a charge out?
Yeah, it'll just. I think her numbers will go down if
I see. Comes back. I see. Yeah, Tina Charles averaging 25.5 points per game for the season. That is way ahead. Like, that's 4 points ahead of Brianna Stewart, ahead of Jonquil Jones, Arike, Britt Griner, Betnijah Laney, Asia Wilson. All the usual customers characters. Really good to see. There was a fabulous game of WNBA action on Sunday evening. So if you're a women's basketball fan, what an evening you had. What an evening I had. You had the women's EuroBasket final, or the EuroBasket final, and then straight into the second half of Seattle Storm and taking on the Las Vegas Aces in Las Vegas. And I saw Leo Parcell and myself arguing with idiots on YouTube who were like, I can't believe how bad this game is. Why am I watching? Turn off. Like, you absolute loser. Just go away. Nobody cares what you think. Anyway.
What was it on YouTube? Was it on
Sky Sports?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so Sky got a couple of games. And they did a good job. Anyway, I'll tell you who did a real good job. The Las Vegas Aces took the dub in overtime. And they were just a little bit good. And I just need to double check who it was who absolutely went off for the Aces, because it was Chelsea Gray. Thank you.
21 points, 2 rebounds, 7 assists, and 15 of those points were in the fourth quarter and overtime.
She absolutely lit it up, and
the two like go ahead baskets.
I love watching a player just absolutely catch fire, and she caught fire down the stretch, so much so that I couldn't remember her first name, so apologies there. That's really crap of me. But no, awesome game, well worth looking back. The one thing I'm going to say, Aces won. I don't trust Liz Cambage. And I think I've had this for a couple of years now, but it was really striking to me in this game. I cannot trust Liz Cambage in the big moment. I trust Asia Wilson. Trust Asia Wilson forever.
So you don't want Cambage with the ball at the end of the game?
It's not so much what she's doing with the ball in her hand. It's what she's doing on defense is my problem.
Oh, not offensively. Okay.
No, I think offensively, fine. But defensively, she's a foul waiting to happen. And again, this is the person who fouled out of or was ejected from a game whilst taking free throws in a Commonwealth Games final. Ultimately, it had absolutely no bearing on the game, but it's still, I don't know. I don't know. I always want, from her and from Brittany Griner, I want more. And I need a bit more.
Yeah.
I need to be able to trust you more when you're, that, obviously, goodness, that good, but also that important to your team's success. We can't be picking up silly fouls and arguing with refs and stuff.
I think she seemed more not reliable, but I think she seemed more, like she's not going to get herself into those situations this season. From what I've seen, she seems more okay, fine.
Yeah.
And
I think in some of the down the stretch with Seattle, I think there was one foul in particular. Maybe I'm blowing it out of all proportion, but it just struck me. It's like, oh, can we trust you yet? Maybe that was a one-off, and I'm just small sample size in it. But I don't know. Maybe
I think it depends. I think it depends who they're playing. Because I think if you've got Cambage going against Griner or Sylvia Fowles is different to if she's going against who's Indiana's centre, just because of the sheer physicality. I do think the refs give a little bit more when it's someone like Fowles or Griner that can maybe match her in height and the way they play, because I think it's not as noticeable because she's against someone more similar to her. So maybe it looks different when it's a different team.
Fever's centres are Bernadette Hayter and
she's not played. She's really good and she's not played. I think she's been sat on the bench.
I know. Played for Sopron in Hungary, who made the EuroLeague. They were 4th in EuroLeague this year.
Yeah.
So there you go. Oh, is there anything to visit in Caz's Corner?
No.
What about Caz's Soapbox?
Yeah,
let's go on. Let's go to Caz's Soapbox. There's got to be something.
Why is Necker not on Team USA? Why?
Because she plays for a bad team.
What?
She plays for a bad team.
What's that got to do with the Olympics? Nah. So Necker's been snubbed, and it's not on at all. It's not on at all. And there's it's not right. She deserves a chance to play in the Olympics. She better get picked next time, because it's just not a good look for Team USA. It's not a good look for USA basketball. It's not a good look all round, and she's been absolutely screwed over. And I'm a Necker fan. Everyone's a Necker fan because she's great. But it's not the way to treat someone that's dedicated so much time, effort, and energy to USA basketball in itself and to promoting the women's game. And there wouldn't have been a WNBA season last year without Necker. Everything she's done for women's basketball, she's not been rewarded for it. It's not right. That's all I have to say.
Can I be the devil's advocate?
Yeah.
She's played 5 games.
No. We're talking Team USA. We're not talking All-Star. We're talking the Olympic team.
But why has she only played 5 games?
Because she's got a knee injury.
Then how can you have her going to the Olympics if she's hurt?
How can Terasi when she's injured as well?
Yeah, fair.
And the timeline, Fisher and her sisters have said the timeline's way before the Olympics. She's due back.
Then
it shouldn't be on. It's not on the WNBA season. It's on your production. She was Team USA MVP in the tournament that they did in the practice games that they've had. She's given up her off season. She's given up the chance of earning a lot of money overseas. She's gone to every single training camp. She's gone to the training pool at the start of the year that not every player did. The only players not to have been picked from that pool are her and Elena Del Don. And Elena Del Don hasn't played in 19 months. So.
Elena Del Don went to the training pool but hasn't played in 19 months.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Sorry, that she was from she wasn't at the training pool in January. She was from there was an 8-player roster from the Team USA camps.
Oh, okay, I see.
Sorry. But yeah, it's not on. It's not on. She was snubbed last time. She was snubbed in 2012. She's been snubbed again. It's not a good look. But it won't be it's not on her. It's on the organization.
Just looking, and again, at really superficial level at numbers, and she is, if she comes back like she started the season, is on for a very, very nice year. Now, you've used the snub word a couple of times. Can you tell us a bit more about that? Like, why do you feel this might be?
I mean, there's a few reasons, isn't there? There's I don't know how much we want to get into it. There's obviously rumors and things that fly about the nature of the committee and their allegiances to certain colleges and players that have played at those colleges. Whether there's any truth in that, you can lead to your own conclusions from that. But we know Candace Parker wasn't picked in 2016 as well. And there's been some players that have come out and said things about it. There doesn't seem to be... So Kurt Miller and I forget, one of the other players on the board were asked questions about the selection process, and they kind of didn't want to answer, or they sort of referred it back to other people on the board. But there's not much visibility and transparency with the way it works and the way the process works, which there is with the men's side. And that's something that a lot of people have been saying USA basketball on the women's side need to get better at, because if you're not going to pick players, give us some reason. Don't say you've not picked Nneka because of an injury and then pick a player that is also injured as well. It would have made more sense to pick, if you thought she couldn't play because she was injured, pick her, but keep a replacement pool so that you've selected her. You come to a week before the Olympics, she's not ready, you take someone else, even though she will be ready.
I've just seen a very interesting thing in the 36-player vote getter thing. Chinny and Nneka Onwumike both on that list, as is Elena Delle Donne of the top vote getters.
So the Elena Delle Donne one's got to be, it's a fan vote, isn't it?
Yeah. It's
like when, I don't know, Alex Caruso gets voted in to the NBA pool. Considering Elena Delle Donne hasn't played since 2019.
Well, hang on, what Alex Caruso absolutely deserved to be on that ballot. He was outrageous. Unplayed. No, I'm not standing for this. And I don't like the Lakers, but nah. I was well happy to see him on. Anyway, I'm very intrigued by this. Very intrigued by this. You and I are going to have more of a chat about this moving forward, both on and off the air. But yeah, I do like Derek Fisher's response to it.
If I'm agreeing with Derek Fisher about something as well, if all the LA Sparks and WNBA fans are agreeing with Derek Fisher, someone's messed up somewhere.
He said it's a freaking travesty. Is how he described it.
It is.
Oh my goodness! So I am intrigued. I am excited. And Caz, we said that we were going to keep this to a tight 60 tonight.
Yeah,
that was a lie. Is there any more for any more?
No, I think we have covered it.
I think we absolutely have. Caz Bullock, tell us where people can find you on that internet.
There, but not a lot. Just retweeting LA Sparks things and supporting Nneka Onwumike because she's awesome.
You can find me on Twitter at @Awade'sTouch. I don't think I've really tweeted much lately. Had a lovely chat with Addy Starr, who is a professional wrestler, somebody I used to work with on there the other day, and that's been my Twitter highlights of late. That's it. That's all I got. All right, Caz, thank you as always for doing the Caz and Daz show. And God, it's nice to be back, isn't it?
It is. It's good. Talk some hoops.
Talk some hoops. Talk some snubs. All right. Massive thank you to mine. Massive thank you to Adam Masters of Brand 161. How do I keep on merging those two characters in my head? And also massive thanks to my dad, whose birthday it is today. So happy birthday, Dad. Hope you're watching. If you're not, then that's fair enough. It is your birthday. You don't have to be doing that.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Yeah. Thanks, Caz. I'll pass on your regards. So happy birthday to my dad. And check out Kat Hulme's Just Giving page down below if you want to get involved in supporting her endeavours in Ironman for the Multiple Sclerosis Society. That's good for tonight. We're going to chat to you again this time next week. I can't wait. Caz, can you wait?
No, I cannot.
There you go. Caz can't wait. I can't wait. Also, a little something dropping tomorrow. Hopefully. We'll chat to you next week.